wonderful way to eat things and to try something completely different that you really wouldn't try in most other places around the world. You can see a nice view of the front of the Gare Saint-Lazare, the front of the station there over on your left hand side, which of course has a little bit of scaffolding going across it. But then some of the other things that you'll be able to try as well, depending on where you go. Of course, frog's legs, leg henri. Now, my tip, one piece of advice, if you're going to try frog's legs while you're here, if you find them, you don't find them everywhere, but if you do find them, don't put them into your mouth sideways. Put them in long ways and take the meat off the bone with your teeth. Because if you put them in sideways, it will spike into either side of your cheek, and it will not be very pleasant. But if you take it in, rip it off with your teeth, then it is the meat texture is very similar to chicken, a little bit of a fishy taste to it, but it's something to try. It's something completely different to try that again you won't find everywhere else. You actually won't find frog's legs in most places, many places in Paris, but certain ones you will. You can also, of course, try. Well, something you will see in every place that you stop will be steak frites, steak and chips. So the one thing I will say about that, can anybody tell that I'm hungry yet? One thing I will say about that is that when you're ordering it, you will, if you think about what you think about as medium, is probably what they will think about as medium rare. Or if you think about medium rare, it's probably rare. So it's probably slightly lower than you're expecting it to be. So depends. If you want to try it a little bit different, then you could obviously go for what you would normally order. But if you want to get it a bit more cooked, then also if you go for well done, they will just say no. In many places, they will say okay, fine. And they'll bring it out to you, and it's maybe not one to go for. But steak frite is really your typical Parisian dish you will find everywhere. Also, you find duck's legs, canard. Canard is the word for a duck. So if you see that on the menu, then you will. Duck, of course, relatively fatty, but absolutely wonderful. You'll normally find it with kind of sauteed potatoes and things that you'll find on the menu in many places. So you'll see all of these things. You'll see quiches, you'll see all of the things you might imagine. You'll see some croque monsieur as well if you're going into more of a cafe than a restaurant, which of course is your toasted ham and cheese sandwich, but with extra bechamel sauce on the top, and absolutely wonderful. Now, as we are heading down the street here as well, we can see some of the big department stores here in Paris. Over on your left hand side, you can see they've got the big displays on the front of the windows. Very similar as it would be to if you were going to Harrods or to any other big department stores anywhere around the world. But you will see plenty of those in the large buildings. There's also, if you were to head down there are some very nice views from the roof out around Paris as well. But if you see what I was saying before about how everything feels quite uniform when we're driving around as well, and you can see all the buildings, they're pretty much the same height, aren't they? It doesn't matter whether you're looking on the left, on the right, or wherever you're looking, then you will see that we're on 7 stories here, including the top, including the attic rooms, which are often very small, and they do often only have quite small windows in them. Originally, they might have been your servants' quarters right up on the top, but we are heading down towards the Place de l'Opéra, so the opera, which you will get some fantastic views of in just a moment's time. It does, of course, it has scaffolding on. You know, sometimes wherever you go around the world, you're going to find scaffolding on some of the important buildings, but we are talking, as in the Phantom of the Opera, we are talking a building which has space to house around about just over 1,000 people, about 1,050 people, and the opera here in Paris. Over on your left hand side at the moment, so on the front of it you'll see statues of all kinds of different musicians. Well, no you won't, because it's all covered in scaffolding, but that's alright. You can still see on your left hand side some people working on the front of the opera. It's one of those things, you know, we need to keep these buildings in good condition, so of course that's why we have people working on there as well. As I say, it is where the Phantom of the Opera, of course, in there, and the other thing to think about this area as well is that, as I was mentioning before, of course, if we go back to the Roman times, Paris is called Lutetia. Right, and that was the town, Lutetia of the Parisi. And the Parisi were the tribe who lived here, the Celtic tribe who lived here.